The housing market is crazy. Rental nightmares. Let's see what people are saying about this market.
This is the kitchen.
Okay. Okay, I like this unit. How much did you say rent was?
This unit is $5,000.
Oh no, I'm renting, not buying.
I know, $5,000 for rent, not including utilities.
Does it come with a family or?
If money is an issue, I can refer you to someone else.
Nah, money's not an issue. You said it was 5,000?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what's that, like 1,000, like 5 times or something?
That's how numbers work. So yes.
Yeah.
So the deposit will be $3,500, including first and last month's rent, plus the application fee, which brings you to about $17,000.
See, my real issue are these cabinets. Are these made of real wood?
No, sir.
See, there's a problem. I'm allergic to fake wood. Can't even touch it.
I'm sorry to hear that. I can show you more expensive units if you...
I'm parched. Do you have something to drink?
Here you go.
Thank you. So, tell me more about the neighbors.
Your closest neighbor is a lawyer.
Very nice.
And what do you do for work, sir?
Oh, well, I've had some experience in the legal system myself.
Oh, like a judge.
Bring back.
Hey, listen. My boy was looking for any excuse to get up out of that house. But basically, that video sums up the rental and the housing market in today's era. It's $5,000 to rent an apartment. Not even a house. I mean, he could have been talking about a house, but that's crazy. Like, it used to be to own, right? To own is it should be much more affordable than to rent, because you're owning you're paying 30 years out, 15, put down a 20% down payment, and then you're paying out 30 years down the line. So it's supposed to be cheaper. I mean, mortgage is supposed to be around like $1,200, $1,300 to own, right? Rent might be a little bit higher, $1,500, $1,600 to rent, but it's being crazy to where 2 bedrooms, but it's starting to become crazy where you have a living room, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and that's $2,400 for renting an apartment outside the city, or $3,600 to rent an apartment kind of close to a city. And then as soon as you get inside the city, it's $4,000 to rent an apartment. It's getting out of hand. People are fed up with it, and my boy was looking for any excuse to get up out of that thing. He said, man, I'm allergic to wood. If this not real wood, I'm allergic to fake wood. I'm up out this thing. And then, he was pretty much shopping outside of his league. Pretty much what he thought, he probably has a pretty good job, thought that he could afford this, and went there and was like, no, sir, this is where lawyers and the doctors stay. Even though it's not that big. Do it come with a family, he said? No, it don't do all of that. So he's shopping outside of his means. He probably needs to move further outside of the city to find a good price. And unfortunately, if you're looking for apartments or houses to stay at that's under $2,000, it's not going to be the best of conditions. And that's sad, because $2,000 a month, that's half of people's paychecks. If you're making $4,000 a month, which is what $48,000 a year, almost $50K a year, half of your paycheck is going to go towards rent of $2,000, which furthers my point of what I've been saying. A lot of people get roommates, and when you have roommates, it kind of lower the cost of what you have to pay for your apartment. And now a lot of millennials and Gen Zers, they're starting to move back home with mom and dad. So now they're moving back home with mom and dad and say, hey, I'm going to pay you. I'll pay utilities bills. I'll pay the grocery bills. I'll help y'all around the house. But mom, dad, I know I graduated from college. I got a job, but I just can't afford a house. Yes, back in your day, you could graduate from college, go get a job, and start a family with a brand new house. But in this day and era, I can't afford to live on my own, so I'm moving back in with you. And that's what a lot of Americans are doing. They're either getting not just one roommate, but 2 or 3 roommates, or they're moving back in with their parents that had the better buying opportunity to buy a house 30 years ago, much more affordable, and now the kids are moving back in with their parents. So that's crazy. Let's take another look at another video.
$900 rent. I keep telling y'all we all need to go on a rent strike. Every state all together at the same time. That's the only way they'll stop increasing rent. And what safety nets do you have in place for all of the people who are suddenly going to be unhoused? This is by no means the first time I've seen something like this, but when we're talking about irresponsible organizing, this is what we're talking about. Telling people to put their housing at risk, knowing full well that many of them have nowhere else to go, and if they get evicted, that means they are on the street, to just stop paying rent and do a rent strike without doing any of the work to provide like safety and safety nets and support for those people is incredibly irresponsible. There should absolutely be rent caps. Rent should be lower. Rent is insane. The rental market needs more regulation. It's out of control. And yes, a rent strike can be a way to achieve that. But if you do not already have all of these safety nets put in place for the people who are going to be striking, it's going to fall apart incredibly quickly. And the most vulnerable people will be in even worse places than they were at the beginning. You need to have infrastructure in place for this to work.
So my lease ends in.
Now, putting on a rent cap is going to be, if a lot of people go on strike, I see that being very difficult for them to put on a rent cap. I haven't heard of anything like that in Texas, in Houston. It might be, but a lot of houses, a lot of apartments are privately owned. They're not owned by businesses. Well, a lot of them are owned by businesses and builders and things like that rent out. But a lot of these private houses, apartments and stuff like that are owned by people like me that's renting it out, and you can't tell me how much I could charge for my house depending on how much I put inside the house. You can't tell me how much to charge to rent out my house. So it's kind of hard to put a rent cap on that unless the building is owned by like the government or builders or something like that, maybe. But everyone's striking to go back to rent to $900. That's not happening. If $900 rent, I'll get me an extra place for $900 and kick it there a couple of days out the week. But for now, I don't see any time soon that rent going back to $900. But the crazy part is that's where rent used to be: $650, $750, $850, $900 for one bedroom. That's a good rent, but unfortunately, it's never going back to those prices. And I don't think any strike is going to do that. Like she said, she's down for it, but that's unorganized and it's not going to work because a lot of people are going to be unhoused, unhomed, and on the streets by not paying their rent. Because as soon as you don't pay your rent, guess what? Somebody else is going to move inside of your spot because it is a housing shortage. And people out there trying to find houses to move into. So if you're not paying your rent, somebody going to move into it. Somebody will pay that price, but something needs to happen. This is my thing, right? No matter what happens, once the price goes up, the price will never come back down. So it could stay the same price for a while. Let's say if you're renting out a place and it's $2,200, it could stay at $2,200 for a very long time. Let's say 5 to 10 years. But the price, once it goes from $2,200, $2,500 and increases to $2,600, it would never, ever, I don't care how great the economy is doing, that price would never go back down unless that building starts to downgrade and look worse and in worse conditions than it was when you first moved in. That's the only way price would go down. But once the price increases, it's never coming back. I've never seen anyone lower their prices after they have already increased their prices. So just like inflation, hyperinflation, the price of goods going up, eggs going up, that price is not coming back down. It's going to stay up for a very long time. Except for gas. I think I did see gas around like $3.09 for premium down here. So I think gas is doing all right. It's kind of pulling back. But I know eggs is still through the roof. It's just crazy. But anyways, let's dive into the next video.
Like 7 days, and I told this bitch I don't want to spend more than $2,200, and she was taking me up to this room and she was like, oh my god, you're gonna love it, it's a 1-bedroom, it's $2,800, but it has a big balcony.
Ooh, I would be pissed if I told you, right? If I'm telling you I'm not spending more than $2,200 and you taking me to a place that's $2,800, I'm gonna be pissed. One, because I told you my budget. And the second thing, you know I'm going to like it when I see it, and I'm going to be like, dang, I like this, I want it, and now I got to find a way to afford it. It's your fault for showing it to me. You knew I was going to like it. Why'd you show it to me? Stick to my budget. It's only $2,200. Let's see how this played out.
Oh, it has a big balcony, bitch. Does it? Do you know what else is big? No? Okay, let me tell you what's not. The bank account. The budget. The credit score, the patience, bitch. Why don't you take the keys to Miss 2,800, not including parking and utilities, and shove it up here? So I got a letter from my apartment complex.
I told you she was gonna be pissed. So you paying $2,800 without utilities, before parking. So at the end of the day, she was gonna end up paying like $3,500 per month. Oh my God, she was gonna be paying $3,500 per month to live inside of an apartment complex or a condo, right? But I don't know where she at, but with $3,500 in Houston per month, hey, listen, I could buy the block with $3,500. I'm living in maybe like, I'd say about a $500,000 to $600,000 house. Well, $500,000 to $600,000 house in Houston is a mansion. Like, it's really, really big. With $600,000 in Houston, you could get a mansion. $3,500, so you paying around like, you looking at a $500,000 house. I can't pay $3,500 for an apartment. Apparently, she couldn't either. So we in the same boat. Let's continue.
To Miss Rachel Peterson Connolly. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but basically, if Ty and I choose to renew our lease in August, it's gonna cost us $4,008 a month. We live in a 2-bed, 2-bath in South Denver. Just so you don't think I'm making it up, we would be paying almost as much as my parents do for a 7-bedroom, 11-acre house. Colorado, y'all are on some crack cocaine.
I have been...
Bro, that's insane. I told, she said she's paying the same for a 2-bed, 2-bath, $4,000. $4,000 when literally you could get a 7-bedroom, 10-acre thing for this exact same price. $4,000 per month for an apartment. And these people know, these apartment complexes know that, oh, you're having a roommate. You guys are both bringing in income. You're going to pay $2,000. You're going to pay $2,000. We're going to take both of you guys. And that's crazy, man. That apartment complex should be $2,000. They split it down the middle. In fact, if it's $2,000, it'll probably be one person living in there. But that's insane, man, that these apartment complexes, these condos complexes are doing it through these people. They're increasing it to $4,000. Now, I do believe once you move in, it should stay that price until you move out. That's why that's going to keep people staying inside your apartment complex. That could help a little bit and stop people from moving out and you having to find new tenants every now and then. But people did move in to some places that had set prices and they stayed there for 30, 40 years before they moved out. So that's another whole thing that people got to put up with because they couldn't increase the prices on them, but they did end up getting them up out of there. But that's crazy. $4,000. Let me know down in the comment section, would you pay $4,000 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath? Even if it's the best apartment complex condo that you ever seen in your life, let me know what you pay $4,000 per month.
1-bedroom luxury apartments for rent. How much they going for? Shit, like 2, 3, 4, 5. Hell, it ain't like it matter anyway.
I already know when he said 2, 3, 4, 5, he about to say 4, 5 what? 4, 500? 4, 5,000? 4, 5 what? Hold on.
You gonna raise like 2, 3, 4, 5. Hell, it ain't like it matter anyway. We gonna raise the shit. 2, 3, 4, 5 what? Like, what you mean? Bands. You're like 2, 3, 4, 5 bands. Racks, $1,000. Damn, the hood, like down the... Okay, what's the luxury features they come with? Why is so much? Shit, the refrigerator silver, and we just hit the walls with some fresh beige paint, and we just put the fake wood flow in. You ain't ready for this?
Okay, cool.
That boy say 4, 5... 4, 5 what? 4, 5,000. It don't matter. We gonna raise the price anyway. Oh man, like it comes off as a joke, and it's a really funny joke because listen, they say it don't matter what the price is. We gonna raise it anyway. How soon? How quick is it? Is it every year? Every 2 years? How quick are they raising the prices on their tenants? He said it don't matter. We're going to raise the price anyway. Oh, man. I'm so glad I got me a little house, man. That's crazy.
So I'm having to move out of my house because I can't afford rent. So I'm moving into my parents' property. But one time I couldn't afford rent either. And I was driving down the highway to try and go get help from social services. And the hood of my car smashed into my windshield and shattered it. So I pulled over and this lady behind me pulled over and turns out I happen to know her. So she helps me get to the social services office, and I'm calling my dad, and he's like out of state or out of town. And as I'm there, this other lady overhears me, and she's like, I'll call AAA and have them tow your car for free. What's your address? So they gave me a ride home, towed my car for free. A couple of days later, my friends called me, and they're like, hey, let's go out. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't go out. I can't even get to work. My car is completely wrecked. The windshield's wrecked. I can't even make rent. I don't know how I'm going to fix this. So sorry, guys. And they're like, hey, you know what? We just ran into some cash, and we want to help you. So they paid for my car. They got me a rental, and they paid for rent for me that month. And you want to know something? If the hood of my car hadn't flown up and shattered my windshield, none of that would have happened. I wouldn't have gotten any help, and I probably wouldn't have been able to pay rent that month because I never would have told them that, hey, I can't pay rent. Sorry, I can't go out. I'd have been like, sure, let's go out. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like, you know what? Me moving into my parents' house at 30 is going to be the best thing that's ever happened to me. It feels like right now I'm pulling over on the side of the road with a shattered windshield. My life sucks, but you know what? Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be great. It doesn't matter. We're going to be fine. We're all going to be fine.
If you're current.
Yeah, see, like I said, moving back in your parents is becoming the new normal for millennials, and life hits hard, and you can't be in a situation where you're paying 50% of your income in rent. Because if anything ever happens, a car breakdown, got to get new tires, the windshield breaks, the hood of your car breaks, anything like that. If anything happens, right, once, you might be fine. You might survive, but you can't enjoy life. You can't go out for some time, right? But let's just say something happens again next month. Now you are stuck out of luck. You are screwed because you're not going to be able to afford rent. You're not going to be able to afford food. You ain't going to be able to afford anything to go out, because in today's age, it's normal for you to pay 35, 45, 50% of your income per month in rent. That can't be normal. That can't be normal, but it has become the norm for people to pay that much in rent every single month. So if anything ever happens at all, you are screwed, man. Let's watch a couple more, y'all.
Living in Alberta, specifically Calgary area, and you live downtown in a high-rise apartment, what the fuck do you do for work? Like, I need to know, because I just went apartment shopping or like renting, whatever, with my friend the other day, and the prices are absolutely insane. And I just don't understand what job people are doing as Canadians. Like, I'm 25. What job would a 25-year-old have to be living in these apartments? Because it's just insane to me. Like, $1,800 for a studio apartment downtown, minus $200 parking, minus utilities. Like, what the fuck? How are you guys living? How are you guys living? Please tell me.
Today is Friday.
I'll tell you what, though. I used to live I used to live in Alberta, Edmonton, because I played in the CFL. I played football, Canadian Football League, and living in Edmonton, Alberta, Edmonton is way more expensive than Calgary, Alberta. Listen, because what was that? I played with the Edmonton Eskimos, right? And even playing as a professional football player, whoa, listen, them apartments up there was so expensive. It was like, bro, you guys got to be ripping this off because you know real football players, so you charging us these prices. No, it was just a super expensive town to live in because it was an oil and gas town. All the pipelines ran through there. They had a great football team, hockey team, all that good stuff. But bro, it was so expensive to live in Canada. I couldn't wait to get back to the States. But yeah, apparently we're not the only ones experiencing this in the United States, but they're also experiencing this in Canada.
The rent is due. I'm feeling some kind of way, right? I don't really have much money after I pay rent. I might have like $300, and that'll probably go to my gas to get back and forth to work throughout the whole week until I get paid again. But I'm literally working just to pay rent for us to have a place to sleep. I don't know. I feel so sad, right? All my situations, but I did get.
She hit the hammer right on the nail. She said, "I'm working just to afford to live. Like, I'm working just to afford to have a place to live," which is crazy. Like, you can't even work to afford a vacation, to enjoy life, anything like that, to invest. You're working just to have a place to live. Ooh, it get rough out there in these streets, man. Oh man.
Bath, $300 a month rent, house. To preface, I live in the middle of nowhere in a small town in Arkansas. Also, houses in my town are not very expensive either if you want to buy one. And yes, it is only $300 a month to live here. I'm not gonna show the bedrooms because I'm not gonna show you my son's bedroom and mine and my husband's bedroom because that's weird. But I will show my bathroom and living room and kitchen. To start off with, we got this big ass mirror and all my little goodies. My little crystal collection. Not gonna lie, I got that off of Temu. I wouldn't say it's very girly pop. Not a big fan of this like ancient, I don't know what to call this. This house was built in like the 60s, okay? But I would say I like this part of the bottom cabinet. But yeah, you can tell it's pretty old. It's been pretty worn down. The woman that lived here before us, she lived here for 20 years and it was filthy whenever we moved in, and it took about like 3 weeks to deep clean it. And then we have a small little hallway. Here's some storage right here that just has some tools and all the diapers, and we have way too many blankets. And
so basically, yeah, if you can afford to live if you want to live in the middle of nowhere. So if you want to live in the middle of nowhere, like she said, listen, we stay nowhere, and she paying $300 a month to rent out. So guys, there's places out there that you can afford to live. Let's take a look at one more, and then we'll get up out of here.
Let me let y'all in on a little secret I learned working in property management. If you live in an apartment complex and your utilities are included or your utilities are paid through your apartment complex, you know they're not doing that just to be nice and make it convenient for you, right? It's either for one or two reasons. One, they're getting a kickback, especially with the internet. Like if they're charging you $100 for an internet package, I guarantee you they're getting that internet for $50 to $75 per unit. So they're just pocketing the rest of your money. Or they're scratching somebody's back. So it's some type of business partnership, and you know, they just want to hook up one of their homeboys and make sure they get paid for every tenant and every door that they have at their apartment complex. So yeah, that's your sign to start putting that plan in place to purchase a home.
Have landlords lost their minds? My roommate moved out a few months ago, so I currently live in a 2-bed, 2-bath by myself. And the price that I am paying for rent for a 2-bed, 2-bath with 2 parking spaces is the same amount of money I would be paying for a studio in Los Angeles, California. I feel like our whole perspective is warped because I hear people talking about, oh, I found a studio for $2,000. What a good deal. I just can't even process what is happening with rent costs in LA and also around the whole country. How is anybody affording rent? How?
Yep. Hey, like I said, it depends on where you stay, because a studio is, you don't even really have rooms, right? You have a living room that's also your bedroom that's kind of connected to the kitchen. You don't really have a room. It's not 1 bedroom, 1 bath with a living room and a kitchen. No, it's like, it's just open. And you're paying $2,000 for that in LA, which is probably a lot higher than that now, which is crazy. But she said she had 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 car, and she paying cheaper than what you're paying in LA. So, you know, depending on where you live inside the United States, I just know about most major cities that major cities is getting out of control. Like 2 or 3 times higher than what it's supposed to be compared to if you live outside of a major city. Let me know what rent prices is in your city. Just drop your city name and drop how much rent prices is in your city down in the comment section down below. Guys, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I got a lot more videos coming out. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate you. Leave a comment down below to help out the YouTube algorithm. But other than that, guys, I'm Zeke, bringing you Dream Green Conversations, and I'm out. Peace.